Cool. All right, folks, welcome back to the backside of Broadway. This is episode 2. After a short hiatus, we're here with Dylan Wilson, aka King Lazy Eye. So, Dylan, first off, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
A native of Columbia, Tennessee.
That's right.
So just outside of Nashville, and I'm dying to know, where did the name King Lazy Eye come from?
When I was in like active addiction, I'd get a terrible like lazy eye. One of my eyes just did not want to play with the other.
Yeah.
So like people could always tell when I was fucked up because they'd be like, look at me, in the eyes. And I'm like, I can't. So, yeah, especially when I was drinking and shit, and I was pretty bad about, drinking and driving until I got a DUI and stuff. So I would kind of close one eye and put my head against the window and then just kind of line up the lines with the side mirror in the windshield. And so I was like, man, I'm really good at this, which wasn't, and it was an awful thing to do. I don't recommend it. But yeah, that's kind of dumb shit we do when we're using and shit. So.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory. King Lazy Eye.
Yeah.
So was it this? I don't mean this to be fucked up. Was it one eye or both eyes? Was it one
It's
particular?
one eye. One eye was my left eye would just get wonky as fuck, like bad. So yeah, it was pretty easy to tell when I was fucked up.
Yeah, and then got a DUI, and that was kind of keeping the King Lazy Eye name. But
but I didn't get pulled over. I just flipped a Mustang into a cemetery. So
shit.
yeah, right next to a headstone. And when the cops got there, I made a really dumbass joke. I was like, at least if I would have died, you wouldn't have to carry me very far. And they didn't. I thought it was funny. They didn't think it was too funny.
I mean, maybe timing, but that's pretty creative. I feel like.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad wreck too. They showed up. And they were like, "Is he still in the car?" Because I had mud on so they thought I was going to see if he was okay or something. I had mud on my knees from where I crawled out. Is he okay? You didn't touch the body. Are they alive? Are they breathing? And I was like, brother, that was me. That was me in there. And they were like, oh, no way, you're going to jail.
Oh, yeah. So they're like, oh, okay, cool, all right. Yeah. We don't do field sobriety tests.
Yeah.
We just do this.
Oh yeah, I wasn't super fucked up or anything. The first thing, when I flipped the car, I had an unopened 6-pack in the car.
Yeah.
So it crushed it, and just. I had beer all over me, so I smelled like alcohol. They didn't need to.
Yeah, probable cause.
Yeah, probable cause.
Whatever the fuck that means anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a pretty tough little situation there. Just well, at least they thought. I mean, you didn't seem overly drunk that they were looking for another body.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't. I was just. I actually got cut off. Someone was coming the other way, and they were in my lane. They're coming around this curve really fast. I mean, kind of was a saving grace though, really, because I had been getting to the point where I was drinking and then driving and just not giving a shit about other people on the road. So it was kind of like an eye-opening experience that I needed to go through.
Yeah, I can assume that maybe not waking up, but flipping over next to a headstone is
it was pretty
a little bit terrifying.
Yeah, it was kind of the universe saying, hey, this is what's going to happen.
Damn.
You keep doing some dumb shit like this. So that was just one of many dumb things I was doing in my life at the time.
Yeah. All right. So long story short, King Lazy Eye from wilder days.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I understand now you're on a sober journey from there, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I was in jail for 5 months, violated my probation. I was on probation for a burglary. Violated, failed a drug test, got new charges and stuff, and then I was in jail for 5 months, and I furloughed out to a rehab. Went to rehab, and now I'm in a halfway house sober living situation.
Yeah.
So it could definitely be worse. I live with some great dudes, One just passed away the other day. He overdosed. And it's just kind of eye-opening, this shit is actually for real killing people.
Yeah.
So that's why I write a lot about addiction and drug use. It seems as if I'm glorifying it, but I'm not. Just kind of, trying to open some eyes about it,
Yeah, I mean, would you say that that's kind of your therapy, is to kind of get it out and rather than have it on your brain?
For sure, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, just writing about, terrible relationships and, how I've ruined those relationships through using, whether not even just romantic relationships, but, friends and family. And I have people that, that meant a lot to me for a long time that won't even speak to me now. And, it's completely on me. That's it's a hurtful thing to go through. So.
Damn. Okay. Pretty
heavy.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, it's real shit,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's the
Yeah.
That's the beauty of dealing with it, is that it is real. I mean, I'm not. I can't say as far as being in a halfway house or something like that, but I mean the fact that it's raw and real means that it's actually reality.
Right.
It's actual real life.
Right. It's, it started gaining a following with people who had been through similar shit, and I had like sort of imposter syndrome when it started happening because, I mean, we're in Nashville. Everybody's
Yeah.
the best at what they fucking do. So, I mean, I don't feel like I'm that great. You know what I mean? So, like, but there's a realness and a uniqueness to it, I think, that really related to people. And it's like, sometimes you could be the best guitar player in the world, but if you don't have anything to say, no one's going to give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's guitar players in this town are a dime a dozen, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not actually being yourself,
Right.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
again, that's the beauty of Nashville. It's the beauty of music, is that
Yeah.
if it's real, it's most likely going to
Yeah.
sell.
And it's subjective completely.
Yeah. Damn. Okay, so sober journey, writing about that, kind of the therapy behind it. So assuming all of these songs are kind of based loosely on true stories.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I've never written a happy song, so it says a lot about my life.
Right. Sad songs make you happy?
Yeah, they do actually. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's real. I mean, the Bud Light Dirt Roads are a dime a dozen, but
Yeah,
to
goddamn.
sing to sing about addiction, to sing about things that are actually heavy that other people go through. I mean,
Yeah, I tried a lot of bad shit in a small town. For sure.
yeah, I feel like it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a breeding ground for it. Sometimes it would seem like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So of those songs that you've written about, obviously all of them true stories. Are they all from one chapter? Are they all different things that happen?
Different parts of my life, for sure. Recently, my most recent songs have been written about, kind of like my struggle with my relationship with my child's mother, because she's an incredible mom. I have a 2-year-old, and she's an incredible mom, and I've been dealing with like a super massive amount of guilt because I'm having to do this whole recovery thing and really focus on myself, and it's like it's pretty. As someone whose father wasn't really there growing up, like I feel like I'm doing repeating the same cycle to my son, just in a different way, So like, just like a lot of it is about her and her struggle being a single mom, doing it by herself, and like I help as much as I can. I help her financially and stuff like that, but that's not always enough. Like I see my son like once a week. I've become like a weekend dad, which is something I never thought would happen. Like I was with him 24/7 before, and now it's like I've kind of like reverted back to like things that I hate my dad for. So yeah, I've been writing a lot about that, and it's painful when it comes out, and I listen back to it, and then I just don't want to hear it anymore, and then I go record it in the studio, and then while they're mixing it, I just have to like kind of walk out. Shit hurts.
Is that tough? I mean, to know that that's the only way to kind of get it off your brain is to play it, is to write it, but then you got to hear it over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be gut wrenching.
Yeah, and it's you would think that it would like sort of desensitize me to it, but it absolutely doesn't. It's kind of like a reminder that I'm fucking up, but trying to get better about it, and he's the happiest child in the world, and just every second he's with me, it's like he's on the moon. So, and I think it makes it worse. I think it'd make it easier if he hated my fucking guts.
Yeah, it's got to be tough to look at him and just be like,
yeah, sorry, man.
Innocent, right?
Yeah.
Caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, and he runs around like I'm like his biggest hero. He like runs around naked with his little guitar, and like he like completely busted up this little ukulele. I got him because he played it so much. So I got him like he's 2 years old.
Yeah.
But I got him like this like kind of like nicer Washburn just for him to kind of like grow into, and he's so like delicate with it. It's crazy. It's like he knows what to do. He sits down and plays it, and it's beautiful to watch him do that.
So do you get to teach him when you're with him? Do you get to teach him chords? I mean, as a 2-year-old can.
He's 2, so you really can't. But I mean, he already like kind of like has that ingrained rhythm already, and like he already tries to sing and stuff like while he's playing. So like I'm definitely not forcing him into it. This is something that he is definitely he's definitely going to want to do. I hope when he gets older, So I mean, he sings all the time. So.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I mean, at least you have a built-in connection.
Yeah.
Sounds like. I mean, he's got some kind of music in his
right.
in his bloodline.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, a lot of my when he was younger, to get him to calm down, I'd set him on my guitar and play like bluegrass scales or something. Just play or sing or whatever. and he's getting bigger now, but he still wants to do that. So I'll be standing up, and he wants to sit in a little curvature. And
Yeah.
my guitar and just like hold on to me while I play. It's like his favorite thing, and it's gonna kill me when he grows out of that.
You just had to find a bigger guitar.
Yeah,
It
find
sounds
a
like.
bigger guitar. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a little taller too.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got obviously your responsibilities at home, right? So you've got a kid that you are working for and fighting for, and you've got your career and all that. But
Yeah.
but before King Lazy Eye, before Mustang flipped,
Yeah.
before all that, how did you get into wanting to play music? How did you get into wanting to write music? I mean, what got you here?
I bought my first guitar when I was 13 from a crackhead. It was a Fender Mexican Strat. My stepdad already knew some chords and stuff, and he showed me like 3 chords, and then he was like, "You need to practice." So when I started practicing, I was like, "I don't know if I want to do this." He's like, "You're gonna regret it if you don't do this." He's like, you can do this." So I started doing that, and then formed a band in high school with my best friend Greg, who I still see all the time. He's in a great band called Made Mother Crone. You should definitely check them out if you haven't. They're like a shoegazy band, but
Okay.
started playing out. We played in a church because we were from a small ass town,
Yeah.
So we played in a church, and then we played out and wrote a bunch of goofy ass songs. Started really playing shows in Murfreesboro when he went to college, and yeah, I started doing that. Then played shows for a long time. Then I went through like a pretty bad breakup, and then moved in when I actually moved to Nashville and not just lived outside of Nashville. Had this job where I was an event coordinator, like setting up events and shit, and I just was like high all the time and didn't have time for music because I was working all the time. Then my grandfather passed away, and my grandmother has Alzheimer's, so I moved back home, kind of take care of her. My mom really couldn't at the time, so I moved back home, and then that's when I started King Lazy Eye. Started writing songs for that.
What year was that?
It was about 2019.
Okay.
2019 is when I was like right before COVID. Started writing all these songs. Never really played out. Maybe I played a few shows in Columbia, a few shows up here. But when COVID happened, I recorded like 2 songs. I recorded like 25 and Forever Whatever, and released them. They didn't really do much, not shit was going on. And then yeah, slowly just started gaining traction from like the internet and shit like that. It turns out like a lot of people have been through very similar things that I've been through with drugs and alcohol. So and their family, like it's a generational disease.
Yeah, I mean, would you say that a lot of your followers have a similar kind of upbringing, sense of small town and kind of just broken past?
Absolutely, for sure. Because it's so common now, that drugs have, especially with like the rise of like fentanyl deaths and stuff. I mean, I've overdosed and died from fentanyl myself and came back. I got very lucky. I was Narcan 3 times.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it's it's something that's eating our society apart because, we have a huge unaddressed mental health issue in this country that, people are just like, keep pushing, keep working, keep, doing what you have to do. And it's just like, just sweeps all that shit under the rug, but you can't do that, Eventually you're just going to be walking on corpses.
Damn.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, man.
No, you're good,
Sorry
man.
to bum you out.
No, no, man. That's the beauty of this whole thing is that this
Yeah.
is real shit that we're talking about. I
Yeah.
mean, this is not doesn't have to be happy. If it is happy, great. If it's not, then still that's reality, man. That's the beauty of this whole thing. I mean, life happens when you're living. Sometimes it's not good.
Yeah.
So
My biggest fear is, my son dying before me, but my second biggest fear would be dying before, I have a chance to raise my son, and that was kind of like eye-opening, all the mistakes I was making. I'm like, I'm not going to be here for my son, so I had to make a change and stuff, and I thought that when I got sober that my music was going to suffer, that my creativity was going to suffer, just because it was so drug influenced and alcohol influenced for so long that I thought that that's where my creativity lied, and it actually was not at all. And my performances have gotten better. My songs are getting better. I can actually go into the studio and record something on time. Yeah, so it's kind of weird having to kind of reevaluate my entire life again.
yeah. So I mean, in the early days of King Lazy Eye, it sounds like it was off the rails.
It was off the rails. Yeah, for sure. I did meth for 14 years, off and on, but for like the last 5 years of it, it was pretty bad. I lost a lot of weight. I weighed like 130 fucking pounds. You know, I weigh 155 now. So I mean, that tells you anything. I was a scarecrow of a human. Yeah, about killed me. I was doing heroin, drinking all the time, doing meth. It was just not a good time. Yeah, going to jail actually probably saved my life.
Best thing that ever happened, huh?
Really, yeah. Weirdly enough, even though I hated it and I never want to go back, and they'll have to kill me before they take me back. But yeah.
What, I mean, you were in there for 5 months.
Yeah, well, I was in there 4 months plus rehab. So, yeah, it was pretty much like locked up 5 months. But yeah, it was not a great time. It was just boring.
Yeah.
It was so boring. Not a lot to do in jail.
People say that something is like a prison.
Yeah, and that's what they mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just read a bunch.
What was your favorite thing to read?
I read this really. First off, I read the Girl We Played with Fire trilogy. That was pretty fucking cool. You know, it was kind of traumatizing a little bit. But I read this book called Beneath the Scarlet Sky, and it was or Underneath the Scarlet Sky, one of the two. It was about this this guy who worked for the Nazis in Nazi-occupied Italy during World War II.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good book. I definitely recommend it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Check it out.
True story.
And so you read a lot, and I guess maybe push-ups and mealtime. I mean, there's what else?
Gained a fuck ton of weight. Won some spades tournaments. That's about it.
That's about all there is to do, huh?
That's all there is to do. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. So then you spent a month in rehab, and now it's how much longer until you have kind of full independence as far as independent living situation and going from there?
I go to court August 10th.
Okay.
To get off furlough, which a furlough is like when you basically I'm serving a sentence right now. But yeah, I get off my furlough on August 10th. You know, God willing, that's when I go to court. So then I'm probably gonna move back home for a little bit so I can kind of like get my bearings and probably move back up here. I'm not really sure. I haven't figured that part out yet. But I'll be free August 10th. That's all I know.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. What, I know you mentioned your son and kind of his memory of you and your memory of him. It sounds like that's a huge driver for everything in life.
Yeah, I just got to make sure I make some good memories because I've been arrested with him in my arms about 3 times, and that's very embarrassing for me. You know, yeah, it's a pretty embarrassing experience when you have to put your son down so they can put you in handcuffs. It's kind of got some definite trauma from that, and I'm sure he does too. It's kind of embarrassing as a parent to even admit that, but it's the truth, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's wild, honestly. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine it, but
yeah. A shitty feeling. You know, especially when you don't see him for months afterwards, or whatever.
And that's like, the last thing he knows.
That's the last thing he knew. Every time he sees a cop car, hears a cop car, he goes, "Dada." So we gotta do something about that.
Unintended smartass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's not funny. It's just kind of.
It's kind of funny though.
It's comical in the situation.
Yeah.
Okay, so the son is your son. Kind of his memory, you drives your music, your sobriety, kind of everything behind that. What else?
The fact that I just I'm happy now, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling for me, but I know it's not as bad as just being in full-blown active addiction, waking up, not remembering shit, or waking up and remembering everything and hating it, or getting in trouble, getting kicked out of bars and fighting, or arguing with my child's mother, or just having run-ins with the police. It's kind of weird. Since I've stopped, being a little shithead, I haven't had any run-ins with the cops, so that's good.
Yeah.
Lost my license, which sucks, so I have to Uber everywhere, so I'm spending like way too much money on Ubers and shit like that. But I mean, the shit that I haven't got caught doing, kind of it evens out.
Yeah. I mean, that's I'm sure not having a license is obviously annoying, but
especially here in this town where everything's so spread apart.
Yeah, it's extremely spread apart, especially when you're playing. So how does that work when you're playing gigs? You just load it up and go from there?
I have been blessed with having the best of fucking friends ever, who are just like, "Oh, you have a gig in Clarksville. We need to get you to Clarksville." And like, I don't even have to ask them. They're just like that. They're, you know, they're just that good of people. My buddy Hayden, my friend Stephanie, you know, if I even have to Uber there or whatever, it's like they're just, or, you know, even my child's mother's, you know, been really good about, you know, granted I gave her my car, you know, because I mean, if I get caught driving it, I go to prison. So, yeah, I've just been very blessed with the people that are around me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've somehow maintained good relationships with people through all this shit. So
That's a good thing.
yeah, yeah.
That's maybe that's the happy feeling you're unfamiliar with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just not disappointing people all the time is a great feeling.
That's good. You're smart to realize that, man.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so as far as music goes, we talked about, you know, sad songs make you happy. This is your therapy, right? All the shit that's happened in the past, addiction, broken past, all of it, putting it out in a song. Is this just, hey, I'm walking down the street and I'm thinking, what about that time? I need to go home and write about that? Or do you have a ritual as far as how you get it out, or how does it work?
So when I started like making videos and shit, putting them on Instagram and TikTok and all that shit, like taking time to do it, like actually do it right, you know, use that term loosely. I would do it really late at night. That's when I feel most creative, and when it's not hot as fuck, because I would do it in a car.
Yeah.
I would sit in a car and I would write, and then I just started like recording the writing process. A lot of the videos and shit that I post are like, I just wrote it like on the spot, or like had some
Just
words
came
and
to you.
just came to me. So I like to do it in a car because no one else can hear me, you know, for their sake and my sake. Because and now at the halfway house I live in, there's an old broke down Saturn that's like, I'm like, whose car is this? They're like, we don't know. So,
Yeah.
so I was like, all right, cool. That's very strange. So I just get in this random fucking Saturn and close the door, and it's like really cramped. It's a little coupe, so it's like 2-door. And then I just I record, you know, the videos in there, and then I just like kind of, that's where I can like kind of like get into the right headspace, because no one can hear me, you know, and until I want them to. You know?
Yeah. That's your little studio out there.
Yeah, yeah.
This
Pretty much.
little safe zone.
Little safe zone, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hot as hell. That's why, like, in most of my videos, people are like, do you take showers, or why are you so sweaty? Or, you know, it's like, because it's hot as fuck. It's July, and I'm in a fucking car with no AC.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Just some greasy haired kid playing the guitar,
Right,
and
yeah,
Saturn.
Right. Yeah.
So you record, or you, I guess, do the videos in the Saturn. That's, you know, that's how you've seen the most kind of traction. It's just Instagram, social media, TikTok, all that, huh?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But now it's starting to translate to the real world, where people are like driving from flying in from like crazy ass places just to watch my shows. And like we had a lot of people at the Cobra on a Wednesday, you know. That's fucking cool to me. You know?
Yeah.
Like that's all, you know, like, I mean, I love that venue or whatever. I mean, I've been going there since I was like fucking, you know, before I was supposed to. You know?
Right.
So
Legal purposes.
back when it was called something else. So yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of cool to see it that translate to real world. I played like in Murfreesboro and had like a bunch of people come out, and it's so weird the demographic of the people that show up. Some of them are like, you know, really like older people, and some of them are like way younger than me, and some of them are never been addicted to drugs. Some of them have been to prison. You know, it's just like, it's everywhere. Like, and but I think a lot of the common denominator is they have had someone that they care about. Their lives have been ruined by it. You know, because it's like something they could relate to.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we talked about that. You said most of your demographic is people that have experienced this, and there's not a lot of music. I shouldn't say there's not a lot of music, but your music is specifically talking about shit that's not exactly that happy.
Right.
It's not really that celebratory.
Right.
But it is realizing that these things happen. And
Right. I would love to be able to write a happy song, but I've tried, but I just get like halfway through it and I'm just like, this is not real. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like, I'm not gonna write a song I don't feel. And even though I am happy, I don't think that, you know, my subconscious is in a spot to allow me to, you know, because that's what it is. It's my subconscious that really writes the music. It's not me. I'm not, you know, I've never really sat down and, you know, like, I'm going to write about this. You know, every time I sit down, it'll just kind of like pour out however it chooses to.
yeah.
You know?
I mean, it sounds like you haven't been that happy for that long, so
Right,
your subconscious
yeah.
is not really trained to write
Right,
songs like
exactly. Yeah, it's a new thing. It's a new thing for me.
that. So maybe a little bit farther down the road, we'll hear maybe one happy song.
Right, yeah. I remember the first single I released, I'd just gotten out of the mental hospital and just picked up my guitar and wrote it and then posted it. Someone was like, I want to record that song. I was like, I don't even like that fucking song, you know. It was just 25. I didn't even like it. Was I wrote it in 5 minutes, you know, and they were like, I want to record it for you, which is my buddy John. He's like, I want to record it for you, and I was like, I don't like that song. He's like, I do, and I'm willing to do it for free. I was like, all right, I guess we're recording that song.
Yeah. All right. Fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then where did Loaded Guns? Where did that one come from?
Loaded Guns came from was basically an apology to my lawyer. I grew up with my lawyer, so we've been friends for a pretty good while, and he's represented me through some cases and stuff, and I called it another charge and shit, and I was like, he's gonna be so mad at me because he wasn't just out for my money, you know, he actually genuinely cared about me as a person. So I was like, just wrote it basically as an apology to him, you know, James McVeigh. I even say Mr. McVeigh in the song. So, and he loved it. So I was just like, I think I'm gonna record this one. So, yeah, it means a lot to him too. Every time I see him, he's always talking about it. People come up to him, are like, Are you Mr. McVeigh? And he's like, I am. You know, so.
I'm King Lazy Eye's lawyer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that could be his, billboard going down Gallatin Pike as King Lazy Eye's lawyer. Right.
Yeah.
Call James McVeigh for all your DUI needs.
Right. Or whatever, simple assault, whatever.
Anything, all of the above, right?
Yeah, anything bad.
All specialties.
He used to be a prosecutor in Columbia, and he quit. And shows how good of a dude he is. I was like, why'd you quit being a prosecutor? And he was like, well, I just got sick of putting black kids in jail for marijuana charges when white dudes are getting away with it and shit like that. He's just very eye-opening about it.
Yeah, down to earth about it.
The small town I'm from is very, just a little corrupt, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least he was smart to realize that. And
yeah.
Now he wants to help people that are actually trying to get better.
He's a lawyer up here in Nashville now. I'm sure he still has cases in Columbia as well. But yeah, and that man's wild too. He's no angel, so he's done some wild shit himself. I won't throw him under the bus too.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah.
We don't have that big a following yet, but maybe we shouldn't throw him under the bus, right?
Yeah.
For legitimate legal purposes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you played at Cobra last week, and what do you think for the rest of this year? Are you going to try to get on the road? I mean, I know obviously
for sure. I'm meeting with someone tomorrow to kind of talk about that. I'm not going to schedule any more solo shows, though. I got like a full band that I'm getting together, so just trying to get that together. So I've got some shows scheduled, up until like August, but after that, I'm just I've had to turn down a lot of shows just because I got some other shit. And plus, I'm still focused on recording this album. I got two singles that I'm releasing on September 6th.
Okay.
Bullets and Boomerangs and Ha Ha, which is Ha Ha was a song in response to this guy who commented. He said, you should stick with the stand-up act. I tell stupid jokes and stuff. And so I wrote that in response to that comment, and a lot of people liked it. So I recorded it, and I recorded it in a really funny way because I did it acoustically, of course, in the car or whatever. But, I made it a very almost poppy release song. I'll let you listen to it after this, but it's almost got some Cure vibes to it.
Oh, okay.
So it's one of the most ironic songs you've ever heard, because it's a song all about different ways to kill yourself. So I don't know. I'm pretty stoked about those two coming out.
Yeah. So this was just an internet troll. That was.
Yeah, which is funny because I ended up. He reached out to apologize to me, and so now we're kind of friends now or whatever.
Internet friends.
Yeah, and I was like, I was never mad. I was just appreciate the drive to write something. I'm sorry for embarrassing you on the internet. Maybe you should be more careful about who you troll though, because some of us have a really sick sense of humor. Yeah,
the people on the internet are just it's lawless, man.
They're so brave.
Yeah, they're so big. Keyboard warriors, man.
Yeah,
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, man, at least you turned it into something, and now he looks like an asshole. So.
Yeah. Which he apologized and stuff, so he was like, I've never even listened to your music before I made that comment, and I was like, well, that's a dumb thing to say.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, so you said haha, and then the other one was Bullets and Boomerangs.
Yeah.
What's the theme on that one?
That song is about my relationship with my child's mother when she very first left. I mean, she left for good reason. I was in, active addiction, doing real shithead things. She left, and I kind of wrote that around that time, and that song has meant a lot to a few people that are close to me. So I'm kind of releasing it for them. That's a hard song for me. It kind of, it evokes some emotions out of me, for sure. But I like it. It's a decent song.
And that was another one, just subconscious, kind of came from.
Yeah, I wrote it in like 10 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, I sat on the chord progression for years, never knew what to do with it, and then one day I was playing it, and then the words just kind of like flew out, and that was when I was still staying at my grandmother's house, taking care of her. So my grandmother likes that song too. So
Is it awkward as far as it goes as talking about being a shithead in the past, like singing about it, and then people listening to it? Is that awkward for you to say, yeah, I mean, I'm admitting to how much of a shithead I was?
well, I feel like I owe it to. It's sort of a way for me to make amends to people that I hurt or bad things that I've done. Like it's kind of like a humbling thing because like some people get joy out of saying, I was a bad person or whatever, and they get like a certain pride, like saying that, that it makes them feel better. It doesn't make me feel better, and it shouldn't, because, I still have many amends to make. So it's kind of like a way of like reminding myself that, like I've done some bad shit, I should, I like to, I like the way that maybe it would help somebody else be able to own up to their own shit, take accountability.
Yeah.
It's sort of my own way of taking accountability to myself, maybe not to other people, but to myself, to remind myself, because it can be it's a little embarrassing, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it'd probably be more embarrassing to just act like it never happened, though, right?
True, yeah, true. I mean, which is a common thing that addicts do, master manipulators, for sure.
So what's been the hardest part about, first off, getting sober, and second off, trying to, again, put these past emotions and experiences into music?
The hardest part about being sober for me is actually alcohol, because it's everywhere, and I see all my friends and all my family being able to just like drink like regularly, and I'm like, oh, you guys don't drink until you black out and wake up in Indiana? That's just me? Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. That's probably the hardest part for me, just because like it's everywhere. I mean, we live in the city of drinking, so
yeah, Nashville's a party town.
it is definitely a party town. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Also, like kind of like that fear of missing out, feeling you get. But alcohol makes me feel like shit, and every time I drink it, I'm just like, why do I do this again? So.
Yeah. And what's the hardest part about bringing that up in songs, knowing that you are sober, talking about how you used to not be sober?
Probably the fact that I feel like it's been done so much by other artists. I feel like I'm, maybe not being as original as other people think I am. Maybe have, like that feeling of imposter syndrome comes about. But, it is my story. It is things that I've been through, and I don't want, someone to think I'm just kind of like writing the coattails of a popular subject right now.
Yeah.
But it is a popular subject right now just because a lot of people go through it.
Yeah, I mean, rock and roll now is being sober,
Right.
which is
Right.
awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
it's, if that's what works,
Because it's
then
incredibly
phenomenal.
hard to do. It's incredibly hard to stay sober. I got the chance to meet Margot Price
Yeah.
a couple months ago, and she is also sober, and she just like gave me some like really good advice. I can't really, probably shouldn't talk about it, but it was just like pretty eye opening. I was just like, no, yeah, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
So there's a pretty good support system, you'd say, in the music world for sobriety?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. It's probably better there than any other place in the world.
You think so?
Absolutely, yeah. Because I mean, like when I started playing music, I had to drink just to even get on stage. Because I mean,
Just the nerves?
Yeah, the nerves, or like being able to like express yourself. It's easier when you got a little lubrication.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Little beer blanket.
Little beer blanket, yeah. Some whiskey blinders.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. But now I'm starting to get to the point where, like, that those nerves and all that shit is, after the first song, I'm good. And I actually have better control over the pitch of my voice, my playing, and shit like that. So it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. I mean, alcohol is, it's not good for you,
Yeah,
right?
it's weird how your coordination is good sober.
Yeah, it's strange how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Yeah, I mean, that's exciting to hear that there's a decent community around it in the music world. I mean, I know Margaret Price has been sober for, I mean, I think almost like 10 years now or
Yeah,
something. I
yeah,
mean, or if not longer than that. But yeah, no, that's awesome. And I know some of my favorite musicians as well have gotten sober over the last 5, 6 years, and
yeah.
their music and their careers have just skyrocketed.
Right,
I mean, they were always kind of riding, but then it just a steady, steady rise after
right.
that.
Like Benjamin Todd, Tyler Childers,
Yeah,
those dudes
Sturgill
are sober now.
Simpson,
Yeah,
yeah,
Sturgill Simpson. Yeah,
BJ Barham from American Aquarium. I mean, those
yeah,
guys that were they were making good music, but they couldn't quite get over the hump.
yeah,
And then after that, it's just been an incredible rise from there.
yeah, yeah.
So, and you mentioned guys like that. I mean, what did you grow up listening to, and then who are you listening to currently?
Um, Man, I know this is a common answer, but I listen to everything, absolutely everything. Um, I mean, I do listen to a lot of Benjamin Todd and stuff like that. He's probably one of my favorite songwriters. I listen to a lot of like local shit too. A
Yeah,
lot of local bands, dudes I grew up with and stuff, just because I love them and their music's great. I grew up listening to like Pixies and shit like that.
you mentioned The Cure
The
earlier
Cure,
too.
yeah, The Cure is cool. Yeah, weird shit, emo music, punk music, shit like that.
You say
Pretty
you're an
much
elder emo?
I would say I'm an older emo, yeah.
Yeah,
Pushing 30, so I guess I qualify.
yeah. I mean, I'm 32. I was not a huge emo kid. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm definitely an imposter in that sense. But yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone at some point in middle school hated their parents, right?
right, right.
Yeah, everyone listened to Take It Back Sunday thinking the world was going to end
Right.
tomorrow.
Yeah, which is really sucks because I always had a great relationship with my mom, so it was hard to be an emo and have a good relationship with your parent. Yeah.
You get called out for being a poser. You love your mom. You can't
Yeah,
listen
you
to
love your mom. You don't. Yeah.
You can't be an elder emo. You
Right.
talk to your mom on a
Yeah.
regular
Right.
basis.
Right.
Yeah, it's imposters, right?
Yeah.
That's funny as shit. Yeah. The other thing I was going to ask you too is, I mean, I know you said you kind of grew up on those bands and who you listen to now. Is there anybody that you're kind of modeling your career after, your songwriting, your style of music after?
No, I don't think so. Kind of thing. I feel like I'm kind of. I think I tried to for a long time, and that did not work for me. So now I'm just kind of like doing what what I know and what I want. Kind of like making my own way, and I feel like that kind of like. I think other people see that too, and that's probably one reason that people do follow it, just because it kind of like is King Lazy Eye is its own thing. You know, yeah, for sure. I'm sure that other people see similarities in other people's art and stuff like that, but I don't really have time to pay attention to that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there's that, I mean, which is
And everything's already
awesome.
been done anyways. Everything's already. So I mean, of course, you're probably emulating somebody, whether you know it or not.
Yeah. I mean, there's, speaking on and singing on sobriety and repairing broken relationships is not a new thing
Right. Exactly.
in any art, right?
Right,
Whether it
right.
be music or movies or actual painting or
Right.
whatever it may be.
Right.
And that's not a new phenomenon.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with that. I just wasn't sure if there was one artist you said, hey, this sounds like a similar journey to me, or someone I know in my hometown, or something like that.
I would say Benjamin Todd. I feel like me and him probably have a lot in common.
Yeah.
For sure. He just seems like a great guy, and probably wasn't always a great guy. So I feel like I kind of like relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So new music coming out September 6th, putting a full band together,
Yep.
and then full album from there, or what do you think?
I'm going to release 2 singles every couple weeks, and then once I get them all released, then I'll put them all in an album. Yeah, probably what I'm going to do, just to kind of like divvy it out. Plus the way we're recording, we're getting these songs done at this time, getting these songs done at this time. It just kind of makes it easier. But the way people release music now, no one releases full albums anymore, just because no one buys albums anymore. So everybody just listens to certain songs or whatever, certain like EPs or what have you. So yeah, just kind of like piecing it out for streaming purposes.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And also to kind of like tease people and shit and not give them what they want all the time, because we live in a society where everything's instant gratification anyways.
100%.
And you need to cut that shit out. So
Yeah, it's
You
like
know,
I mean, Netflix model. They release everything on a Friday. Everybody's done by Saturday and wants more by Sunday. It's
right.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we're vicious creatures.
Right.
Man.
Yeah. We're just consumers of everything.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm guilty just as
Me
much.
too. Yeah, we all are. I mean, I can just like order any kind of food I want to my fucking door, like, and then I wonder why I've gained 30 pounds in sobriety. You know?
I would say I'm assuming you're probably a lot healthier. Well, you may have put on weight. You're sure healthier now than you were
Yeah.
at
Oh
130
yeah.
beanpole.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, I'm way more healthier. I got to the point where I was using meth that like my prostate was like shutting down, and like I had to like meditate to even piss. You know, that's how I got into meditation.
Really?
Yeah, I'd have to meditate over the toilet for like fucking almost 10 minutes just to be able to piss, and that's when I knew I should probably cut it out. You know, I was like, man, I have the prostate of a 70-year-old man.
When there's just normal,
Yeah,
normal bodily functions
yeah,
won't happen.
yeah. When I went to jail, I hadn't even drank in a week, and they're like, your liver enzymes are through the roof, and I was like, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
and yeah, what do
next
you expect?
question.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna die.
Yeah. What's so that obviously body healing, getting sober is a good thing. What is your favorite part about being sober?
Not waking up and going, what did I do? You know, like going through, having to go through my phone and figure out, like, did I do something bad, or, you know, did I sleep with someone's girlfriend, or did I do, you know, did I piss someone off? Did I get in any altercation with the police or whatever? You know, that's probably my favorite part. It's just not the scaries.
Yeah.
I hate the scaries.
So the full anxiety of not knowing what happened
Yeah,
or when it's
yeah,
going to come to light or if it will
right.
come to light.
Or even just like driving with drugs. God, that's the worst feeling, especially when you're driving like multiple counties. I hate that fucking feeling. Yeah,
Yeah, that's no. I'm out on that.
yeah. And
No.
also people trusting you again is great. I love it.
Repairing relationships.
Yeah, people being able to trust you with things. It's
Yeah.
a great feeling.
These are good things. These is part of the happy feelings. Maybe
Right.
maybe there will be a song repairing relationships in the future.
Right, yeah, for sure.
All right, meditation you mentioned, and that's we're not dealing with that, but you're focusing on that, practicing that.
Yeah, I try to every morning. Recently I've not been as adamant about it as I have in the past, but yeah, it's a huge thing. It's part of like the recovery thing. I'm not really a huge advocate of the 12 steps because I'm just not. But one thing that I have gotten from it is like prayer meditation. Like even if you're just like you don't have to pray to a god or whatever, just pray. Like it's like getting on your knees or whatever. Like kind of like submitting to the problems and praying for people that not even just making it about you. Like praying and meditating on people that have done you wrong, your resentments. You know, that's one thing that drove my addiction so fucking far was resentments against myself, resentments against other people, and like resentments will eat you alive. You know, and meditation is an incredible way of letting go of that kind of shit. You know, because I mean, you really don't have a choice to. You know, when you can empty your brain about anything at all and just like let shit go. Like I've made some terrible decisions based off of anger or resentments I had. You know. Yeah, and it's a pretty good thing if you can get into it. It takes a little bit. I mean, the meditating on being able to piss was obviously a joke, but it was kind of like I meditated a lot in jail just to kind of like it would make time go by like a lot faster. And stuff.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean it's like every day seems like it's 10 days, you know, because you don't do anything.
Yeah, you're just literally sitting there staring at the wall.
Yeah, or reading or you know, so you listen. I mean. You know, it's just a crazy experience.
Did they let you have a guitar or anything in there?
Hell no, and that fucking killed me. That was like, I mean, by the time I got out of jail, I was like, it felt so weird in my hands, like I had to.
The muscle memory.
Yeah, it's a very perishable skill. You know, I'm just now getting back to as good as I was before I went to jail. You know, it's been a while.
Really?
So yeah, I've been out since February, and I'm just now getting back to the point where I can play like the same shit that I was playing when I went in. And that was scary when I very first got out. I was like, I suck now. What the fuck, you know?
Yeah. Did you ever have the thought of like, well, now that I'm sober, I can't play?
I did. Yeah, I did. That when I very first got out, I was like, man, all my creativity and all that shit's gone. But really, I was just going through an adjustment period of being back in the real world and stuff like that.
I mean, your whole body was healing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially because like I was still using in jail and stuff, you know. So
how are you using in jail?
I mean, I was still smoking cigarettes in jail. You know, like not, you know, they were, you know, I mean, they're obviously coming in through people's asses, you know. But I mean,
Yeah,
I definitely did some butt drugs in my day, for sure.
So is it just like in the movies?
Yeah, it's almost worse. Yeah, it was. Yeah, and it sucks because when you get high on meth in jail, there's like nothing to do, you know. It's awful. It's like, man, this is the worst experience ever. Now I'm not going to sleep, which is my favorite thing to do in jail because, I try to get them as less time out of me as possible. Yeah.
Got it.
But drugs and cigarettes.
Is that the title of the new album coming out?
No, it's actually All Cops Are Boyfriends.
That's the name of the album?
Yeah. Yeah.
All cops are boyfriends. So based on all the run-ins with the law, that's...
Yeah, because they're all on each other's team and shit. It doesn't matter if, especially being in a small town, it does not matter if you're in the right or not. They're going to protect, like I've seen some pretty fucked up corrupt shit with the police and stuff. Like I had a dude trip me while I was in handcuffs and then act like it didn't happen and shit like that. Like, just stupid. I mean, it's so weird. It's like if you make all D's in high school, they eventually just give you a gun. It's crazy to me. I don't get it. I don't understand.
So it sounds like you were a pretty good student then, huh?
Yeah, I was pretty good in school, actually. I wasn't good enough in school for them to give me a gun, but I can't even own guns now, so
Yeah.
I'll never be able to be a cop. I feel like that'd be the biggest troll if I just became a cop.
Yeah, just complete cross the picket lines.
Yeah, just to fuck with people.
When you were having run-ins with law, you knew all these cops at this point, right? You were on the short list.
Yeah, and there's probably a lot of my resentments are with the police, and probably a lot of them are unfounded, and I'm sure a lot of them are pretty good dudes, but I choose to be mad at them right now at this point in my life, and I'm sure I'll forgive them eventually, but right now is not that time.
You haven't got to that point in the meditation?
I haven't got to that point,
There's nothing wrong with that for the time being.
And, I did deserve what I got, I'm not going to say that, but there's also, like, people selling fentanyl and people that are raping people and people that are, like, literally seeing child molesters go free in court, but they want to throw the book at me. It's just kind of fucked up. But
yeah, I'm assuming that you've seen it all based on everything that you've done, and something to be said for the real side of things and the real conversations.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy shit for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What if I can ask the craziest thing you did while on drugs?
Stole my girlfriend's car and flipped it into a cemetery.
That was your girlfriend's car?
It wasn't even my car. No. Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
She had no idea.
She did, and she didn't call the police, which, I would have. I would have done that. But I just so happened to be sharing my location with my mom, my phone. So she was like keeping it. So she knew where her car was the whole time, but it just stopped moving, So like
in the cemetery.
In the cemetery.
God,
so
I
she
bet that was
just got
creepy
really,
as shit.
So she was just like, what the hell? So she just like drove there and saw the car, and like I remember sitting in the back of the cop car, going fucking Tasmanian Devil, trying to get the fuck out, kicking windows and shit. And I just remember seeing the look on her face and like how scared she was because she thought I was still in the car, too. But yeah, I'm sure I definitely traumatized her doing that shit. That's one thing I've been trying to repair.
It's all part of the journey.
All part of the journey. Yeah, I'm a piece of shit.
Well, former, right?
Well,
elder emo, former piece of shit.
Elder emo, former piece of shit, recovering addict. Yep.
Well, believe it or not, there is worse things.
Yeah. There are. I've met them.
Yeah. Was that tough as far as getting sober? Learning that you may not have the same friends, and that some of the friends that you thought you had, or you can't hang out with anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Like, especially when you reach out to them and they feel like they're pressured to give you an explanation on why they can't be in your life anymore, and you're like, I totally get it. You don't even need to explain anything. Like, I completely get it. I'm even surprised you're even trying to offer me an explanation. That's really sweet of you. So, yeah.
That's the end of it, right?
That's
just kind of
cut
ties.
Yep.
All right, where can people find you as far as Spotify, Instagram, social media, all that?
Everything. I got really lucky with the King Lazy Eye thing. So
not a lot of those out there, huh?
At King Lazy Eye, literally everything. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that. I got so lucky. Like, it just at King Lazy Eye, literally everything. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
At King Lazy Eye. New music coming out September 6th.
Yep. And I just released a song called Prize Fighter which I'm going to release another version of it too. But this was a recording I found on my phone from a year ago.
Okay.
That was recorded. So I just released that one. I kind of like just shock dropped it, just kind of like dropped it and didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, my new music will be dropping September 6th, and then 2 more songs a couple weeks after that.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
And then full album sometime this fall.
Sometime this fall, maybe winter. Yeah, it just
Okay.
depends how fast we are able to drop these songs.
Yeah. Get in the studio.
Yeah.
All right. Last question I'm going to ask you. Favorite part about living in Nashville, least favorite part about living in Nashville?
My favorite part is all the people that are here now. It's crazy. You meet some of the most talented, incredible people in the entire world. And also, like, this is going to be weird for me to even say, but like the cops here are not that fucking bad. They're not like Columbia cops or anything, you know, like, and even like that, they're even getting better out there. But like the police here are so fucking cool. I actually got stopped by the cops in Murfreesboro for riding in the back of a truck this past weekend. They're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Getting a ride." And they're like, "You can't ride in the back of a truck." And I was like, "Didn't know you can do that." And they're like, "Okay, well, get out." You know, normally, you know, that would have gone pretty bad.
Yeah. Cuffs
Yeah.
to the ground.
Yeah. So that was just cool. I was like, cool. You know, they just let me go.
You can't ride in the back of a truck anymore?
Not in city limits, apparently.
Of Murfreesboro or Nashville? Or
I don't
just...
know. I mean, I'm just going to go with in general for me, just so that that doesn't happen again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. I don't know. But my least favorite part, the traffic. Just like the terrible fucking infrastructure reconstruction that they're doing right now for some reason. I don't know what the hell they're digging up, but they need to quit it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tall and skinnies and the high rises.
Yeah. Those are, I hate when I go into someone's house and I'm like, you live in a hallway, you know? This is the longest hallway I've ever seen.
It's like a bowling alley.
Yeah,
here.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the first place I lived in Nashville was like an old triplex, and it was the only place that was available when I moved here, and it was the same thing. It was like the longest hallway. I remember when I was moving in, my buddy was like, "You could literally roller skate down this fucking place." It's so long, and now I mean the tall and skinnies, you go in them, and it's like, it feels like you're in like a jungle gym. It's just stacks.
Yeah, they call them shotgun houses too, because you could open the front door and shoot a shotgun, and the bullet would leave out the back door.
Yeah.
Yeah. The gentrification is real in this town. It's crazy. That's probably the least favorite part about people moving here is people like coming from like Austin and LA, like all these developers and shit, and just buying up a fuck ton of land, building these fucking houses, and then just making it impossible for us to live here.
Yeah, impossible for anyone to afford it outside of people that are moving here
from other places.
Because
like Tennessee is like supposed to be a cheap place to live, at least.
Not anymore.
We're in a blue bubble right now, so.
Yeah, no, it's a bad scene, but no, I mean, not only are the houses unaffordable, but then the houses that are not, a 2-1 for $500,000 are terribly built.
Yeah. And
they're thrown together in like 30 days.
Yeah.
And you're shaking hands with your neighbor while you're pissing.
Yeah.
While you're meditating to get your prostate.
It's pretty
you're
bad
at
when they have to offset the air conditioning units, because if they couldn't put them side by side, because they'd be touching.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how close together they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody told me there's some law in Tennessee where like you can't technically have like a new duplex anymore, but you can have like a shared living wall. It's like some bypass or whatever. So that's why you see houses that are like, it should be one house, but it's 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom houses next to each other with like one conjoining wall, and that's considered 2 houses. It's not a duplex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, yeah, that's a whole other soapbox for a whole other episode.
Right.
But yeah. Okay, so at King Lazy on everything, new music coming up, and then a new album here in the next hopefully 6-7 months, something like that.
Yep, I'm super stoked for it. It's gonna be great. This is the first batch of songs that I've ever like listened back to, and I'm like, I'm really proud of these, you know. So it's a good feeling, and I've showed them to a lot of different people, and no one's had really anything bad to say, and I know that they're not bullshitting me, because I've showed them to people who wouldn't lie to me. So yeah, I'm super super stoked about them. I think they're gonna do great.
Good, that's awesome. All right, Dylan Wilson at King Lazy Eye. Thank you for being here on the backside of Broadway.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, awesome.